sorry, zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, and zona reticularis. And three layers of cells have different types of enzymes, so they produce different types of hormones. If we see the histological section, then we will see here the capsule. Then from here to here, this is zona glomerulosa. Zona glomerulosa, it is mainly secreting aldosterone or mineralocorticoid. So if this enzyme, this hormone, mineralocorticoid or aldosterone, maintains the mineral concentration, especially the sodium ion concentration over body fluid. So it is zona glomerulosa. Zona fasciculata, it looks like fasciculus. So this portion is zona fasciculata, and this zona fasciculata essential for stress hormone secretion, that is cortisol, cortisone, corticosterone secretion. This portion. Then comes the zona reticularis, and the cells are cell are reticular formation or net formation. Net-like structure is there. That is why this portion is called zona reticularis, and this portion is specialized for the secretion of adrenal sex steroid. Adrenal sex steroids. Adrenal sex steroids in optimum titer is needed for the libido in females, or the libido in females. That means the desire for sexual activity, that desire is given by these uh, hormones of adrenal sex steroids in case of females, and that is the area is zona reticularis. And inside that there is a portion that is not so cellular, and it is mainly made up of the apolar nerve cells, apolar neurons. That means there is no pole, no action, no dendron, but these are neurons actually. Then this portion, the adrenal medulla, is specialized for the secretion of catecholamines. That means adrenaline or epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine. Epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine. Right? Up to this clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, zona glomerulosa is weight-wise 15% of the gland, and they produce aldosterone, 11-deoxycorticosterone, and if the adrenal cortex is damaged, then formation of new cortical cells are the main function of the zona glomerulosa, and it is stimulated by angiotensin 2, angiotensin 2, and by the sodium ion concentration, right? It is by the sodium ion concentration, right? It is not, this zona glomerulosa is not affected mainly by the ACTH. ACTH acts on the zona fasciculata and reticularis, not on zona glomerulosa. Because if you destroy in animals, if you destroy the corticotroph cells, the zona fasciculata and zona reticularis, these two layers, cell layers are necrosed, right? Necrosed if you cut the corticotrophs. If you do the hypophycectomy, but the zona glomerulosa remain, the thickness of the zona glomerulosa remain almost same. That proves that ACTH, it is not ACTH dependent. Which one is this person is dependent on? Mainly sodium ion and angiotensin 2. because angiotensin 2 comes out when there is less sodium ion. Right. Now, the zona fasciculata, this is the weight wise, this is the 50% of the gland, and they mainly produce cortisol, which is the stress hormone. During stress, it comes out, and corticosterone also, as cortisol is the main hormone in case of human. Then zona reticularis, it is on 7% of the gland, and they produce androstenedione, dehydroepiandrosterone, androstenedione. Sorry. So androstenedione and dehydroepiandrostenedione, these are the main function of the reticularis. What are the hormones? Androstenedione, dehydroepiandrostenedione, right? And these hormones, the adrenal sex steroids, are special for the libido in females. In case of males, the libido, the desire for sex, that is called libido, that comes in males by the testosterone. But the same thing comes in the females by the zona reticularis hormones. Am I right? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, all the steroids these are all steroid hormones. Cortisol, cortisone, corticosterone, androstenedione, then your aldosterone, they are all steroid hormones. This steroid hormone has a CPP ring. CPP ring. C for cyclopentano, P phenanthrin ring. Cyclopentanophenanthrin ring. So C for cyclo, P for pentano, P for phenanthrin ring. Cyclopentanoparhydrophenanthrin ring, right? Cyclopentanoparhydrophenanthrin ring. Am I clear? Should I tell it again?
No, sir.
Cyclopentanoparhydrophenanthrin ring. So if you forget, then you please write CPP ring, right? In the CPP ring, you see one hexagon, another with this what you call benzene ring, again another benzene ring, and there is a pentagon, right? This is the CPP or cyclopentanoparhydrophenanthrin nucleus, and this structure will be there in every steroid hormone, right? And steroid, it comes from cholesterol. You see, this cholesterol has 27 carbon. Here is cyclopentanoparhydrophenanthrin ring up to this. Then this is 17, 18, then 19, then 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So this is the cholesterol, 7 carbon structure. This cholesterol enters into Golgi, and they are esterified. After that, they have hydrolase enzyme cuts it. Then it enters into the mitochondria. Then from mitochondria, there are some enzymes. They make it pregnenolone, right? From pregnenolone, they enter into the endoplasmic reticulum. And there, this pregnenolone is converted into cortisol. From there, different hormones are steroid hormones are produced. Have you read it in biochemistry?
No, sir.
Yes, no.
Mm, detail not. No, sir.
Okay. So, in detail, if you can remember, it is well and good. If you can't remember, don't be disheartened. You please remember few main things. One is all steroid hormone has cyclopentanoparahydrophenanthrene ring. The steroid hormones are derived from the cholesterol. Then cholesterol it enters and it ultimately makes a pregnen that is a chemical pregnen. It contains 21 carbons. From there progesterone and corticoids are produced. Then this pregnen is converted into 19 carbon androsten. Androsten nucleus is like this. From there androgens are produced, and then from androsten estrone is derived, that is 18 carbon, and from there estrogens are produced. The main thing is cholesterol, right? What I told, I am again trying to explain. When the steroid hormone, how the steroid hormone are produced? Say for example, it is ACTH, right? Which is hormone ACTH. From here, when it is attached, then through cyclic AMP mechanism, ATP will be adenine cyclase will be stimulated. Then ATP will be converted into cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP activates the pKa enzyme, phosphokinase. Phosphokinase, when these enzymes are active, then the proteins will be converted into phosphoproteins, and that is cholesterol ester, right? Cholesterol esterase enzyme is there, and lipid droplets enter from LDL, and they makes a vesicle. Okay, this vesicle contains what? Cholesterol ester. From cholesterol, here in this structure there is dehydrogenase enzyme. Hydrogenase enzyme. So it is hydrolyzed, and then free cholesterol comes out. Then free cholesterol enters into the mitochondria. There are some P50 enzymes. Many types of enzymes are there. From here, the pregnen is formed. What is formed? Pregnen is formed. From pregnen, this mitochondria is very close to this endoplasmic reticulum. Here it enters and different steroids are formed from here to here, and again they come here. So here these two organelles, one mitochondria and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, they produce all the steroid hormones. Then steroid hormones comes out from the blood. From the nucleus, right? This happens. Should I tell it again?
Yes, sir. Actually, थोड़े मात.
First, ACTH comes into action, right? We are talking about cortisol, say for example, right? First ACTH comes, then hormone receptor complex formed. So adenylyl cyclase is stimulated. ATP is converted into cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP activates the phosphokinase enzyme. Then these enzymes makes phosphoproteins or cholesterol ester. Cholesterol ester enters into the vesicle. Here, due to some presence of some enzyme, the ester is again cut into the protein and cholesterol. This cholesterol enters into the mitochondria. Mitochondria has in mitochondria this cholesterol is converted into pregnein. This mitochondria is converted into pregnein. This pregnein enters into the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Here cortisol and other corticosteroids are formed and then they comes out into the blood. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Up to this we have come, no? Then glucocorticoid is the main product of the zona glomerulosa. No, zona fasciculata, not zona glomerulosa. I'm sorry, zona fasciculata, and then excess glucocorticoid causes Cushing syndrome. If the cortisol administration is more, or adrenal hyperplasia or tumor in the cortisol secreting cell, that is in the cells of zona fasciculata, or ACTH is more or CRH is more. Anyway, if the cortisol is more, then that gives rise to Cushing syndrome. The features are red cheeks, moon face, buffalo hump, truncal obesity, abdominal stria, poor muscle development, poor wound healing, insulin resistant diabetes mellitus, raised FFA, free fatty acid, angiotensin 2 is more, hypertension is there, osteoporosis, euphoria, effective reproductive function, lymphopenia, eosinopenia, neutrophilia, bruces, and ecchymosis by major injuries. These are the features. So, if you see here, this is the normal face, and here the Cushing syndrome face, moon face, and red cheeks. Why? Because if the cortisol is more, then fat is deposited in this buccal area, and as cortisol is more, the protein depletion is more. So skin became very thin. So the underneath the skin, the vessels are prominent. So there are small vessels, skin vessels are prominent, so it gives the reddish impression. Am I clear? Why it is moon face? Why the red checks are there? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Should I tell it again?
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Should I tell it again?
Yes, sir.
In Cushing syndrome, the fat deposition is in different places, not in normal way. So abnormal places fat is deposited. So in the buccal side, the fat is deposited. And at the same time, the protein depletion is there in the skin. So skin became thin. So cutaneous vessels are prominent. So cutaneous vessel becomes red and very small vessels are there. That is why the impression is red cheeks. and as the buccal fat is deposited here, excessive buccal fat, so the face becomes swollen round face, and that is called moon face. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now the same thing happens. The fat is deposited in the abdomen, right? And the abdominal skin also become thin. So the abdominal skin and the viscera is stretching the skin, is pushing the skin out, and that is why there are stretch marks, right? So that is called abdominal stria. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now there is protein depletion. That is why the truncal obesity is there. That means in the trunk there is the fat is deposited. Sometimes the fat is deposited here also. So that is called buffalo hump. Huh? So the fat may be deposited here and fat is deposited here, right? And fat is here, but the thin skin, the limbs are thin, right? There is protein depletion, and there is wound healing is delayed. The wound is here. Wound healing is delayed because fibroblast cannot act without cortisol. Fibroblast cannot act without cortisol. That is why there is skin. Delayed wound healing. Delayed wound healing due to less function of fibroblast. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So this is the feature of the truncal obesity, buffalo hump, buccal fat deposition, moon face, wound healing. These are the feature. And cortisol is also increasing the blood glucose level. That is why there is diabetes mellitus, right? So red cheeks, moon face, buffalo hump, truncal obesity, abdominal stria, poor muscle development, poor wound healing due to the then insulin resistant glucose diabetes mellitus, raised free fatty acid, right? Angiotensin 2 will be more, hypertension will be there, then osteoporosis, and in extreme case there is euphoria. Without any valid cause, the person is very, very happy. Without any valid cause, the person is very, very happy. So that is a neural disease, mental disease, that is euphoria. Defective reproductive function, lympho and eosinopenia, the penia means less, neutrophilia, and bruces and ecchymosis. Now, bruces means uh, if there is a little trauma and then there is some blood oozing, then that is called bruces. And without any trauma, if there is oozing of blood, that is called ecchymosis. So ecchymosis is a medical term. That's a subcutaneous purpura. Okay? It is purpura-like, larger than 1 centimeter, hematoma, commonly by erroneously was bruise. So now the hematoma, if there with a trauma, then it is bruise. And ecchymosis means without trauma if the purpura is there. Am I clear? Why it is so? Because without cortisol, the capillaries become very thin and they burst, and that is why there is purpura, extravasation of blood. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, We talked about what happens if the cortisol is more, that is Cushing syndrome, right? If the cortisol is less, that causes Addison's disease. Addison's disease is seen when there is deficiency of glucocorticoid. So naturally, glucocorticoid or cortisol is less. So cortisol is less. When cortisol is less, by negative feedback, it increases the ACTH level. So when there is ACTH level is high, cortisol is less, and there are some other features, then it is called Addison's disease. The causes are necrosis of the adrenal cortex. It may be due to tuberculosis or cancer or autoimmune disease. Adrenal cortex is lost, right? So adrenal cortex has aldosterone secreting cells. So when the aldosterone is not there, sodium retention will be less, so sodium will be less. Sodium less means the water absorption capacity will also be less. And if the sodium and water is less, then blood volume will be less. If blood volume is less, then blood pressure will be less. And as the cortisol is not there, dona fasciculata also goes away. So there is less blood sugar. So hypoglycemia is there and low blood pressure is there. Naturally, there will be weakness. And as without cortisol, the permeability of the vessels, blood vessels will be more. So watery part of the blood will come out from the blood vessel and they will be accumulated. Those watery part will be accumulated in tissue space, and that causes edema. Naturally, the metabolism in the nervous tissue will be hampered, so there will be restlessness. Due to less cortisol, ACTH is more, and you know that ACTH first few amino acids and MSH first few amino acids are same and in same configuration. That is why if the ACTH is more, there will be pigmentation, excess pigmentation in elbow, in some places, in knees, in nipples, in gums. So there will be pigmentation. And if this Addison's disease continues for a long time, then there will be chronic low BP. So naturally, the heart will not be able to face any stressful condition. Heart size will be gradually smaller. If the patient is bedridden, patient faces no problem. But if there is any stress, mental, physical, any stress, at that time the heart cannot pump properly and blood pressure is not proper, it will be less, the perfusion in the brain will not be proper, so there will be fainting and collapsing of the patient. And this condition is called Addisonian crisis. So Addison's disease untreated for longer time will give rise to Addisonian crisis. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Should I tell it again?
No, sir.
Now, adrenal insufficiency causes increase in antidiuretic hormone. Why it is so? Because if the adrenal gland does not work, that means if the cortex is out of order, so mineralocorticoid which comes out from the zona glomerulosa, that is aldosterone, will be less. So sodium retention in the body fluid will be less. Naturally, decreased osmolality will be there, and as water is not absorbed because sodium is less in blood, so sodium is hygroscopic, sodium is not there, so blood will lose the water part and blood volume will be less. And if the blood volume is less, that will cause more ADH secretion so that body does not want to lose water. That is why in adrenal insufficiency there will be more ADH, anti-diuretic hormone. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Should I repeat?
No, sir.
May I proceed?
Yes, sir.
So here we showed the Addison's disease where ACTH is more, cortisol is less, ACTH is more. ACTH first few amino acid sequence and resembles the amino acid sequence of MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone. That is why melanocytes there is pigmentation here, too much pigmentation, here pigmentation, right? Suppose there is a cut and there was suture, and if the ACTH is more, when ACTH will be more, then cortisol is less, ACTH more. And that happens during Addison's disease. When cortisol is more, that causes Cushing syndrome. When cortisol is less, that causes Addison's disease and hyperpigmentation, low blood pressure, hypoglycemia, all those things. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, from the what happens in high cortisol area and when the cortisol level is less, we got. So from there, we can make out the function of glucocorticoid. Glucocorticoid means cortisol. Glucocorticoid means cortisol because cortisol increases blood sugar level, increases the blood glucose level to combat stress, so it is called glucocorticoid. It increases the protein catabolism. It increases the protein catabolism. That is why if the cortisol is too much, then there is protein depletion. So the limbs become very thin and the skin become very thin. Right? It increases the hepatic glycogenesis and increases gluconeogenesis and increases glucose 6-phosphate activity. So gluconeogenesis is there, glycogenesis is there. So naturally, in liver there is glycogen synthesis also, and At the same time, glucose production also. Glucose production is too much, and that is why there is insulin independent diabetes mellitus. So that is, if the cortisol is more, so in case of cortisol more means Cushing syndrome, there is hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, there is permissive action of glucocorticoid on catecholamines. Catecholamines means epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine, which comes out from the adrenal medulla. They are they have their own effect, but without cortisol, they cannot act. Presence of that cortisol, this epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine works. That is why it is called permissive action of glucocorticoid. Here, glucocorticoid or cortisol have no direct function, but without glucocorticoid or cortisol, these catecholamines, that means the epinephrine, norepinephrine, and dopamine cannot work. Now, what does this epinephrine, norepinephrine, dopamine, those are called catecholamines, do? They have calorigenic effect. That means they increase the body temperature and increases the lipolytic action, lipolysis or free fatty acid more, pressure response and bronchodilation in presence of mono. So pressure response means the blood pressure is high. When the epinephrine, norepinephrine comes into action, then blood pressure becomes high. And there is good perfusion in the brain. And there is bronchodilation. So all these functions of catecholamines takes place when there is glucocorticoid. Without glucocorticoid, the catecholamines cannot work. That is why it is called the permissive action. No? Say for example, suppose your examination sheet for your examination is in our college, university examination. Will you be more comfortable? Or if the examination venue is in Chowkot, you will be more comfortable. Are you getting my point? Are you getting my point? If the seat for the examination is in Nepal Medical College, will you be happy? Or if the seat for the examination is in Chowkot, in Kathmandu University, not in Nepal Medical College, will you be more happy? Where will find easiness?
In our own college.
In your own college. See, so you are performing, you have read, you will write. In Chowkot, the environment is different and the invigilators are different from their portion. And in Nepal Medical College, if the seat is there, then you have a known environment and the invigilators will be known to you. And sometimes me or some other teacher or Anil Dai or something. So you are performing, but your performance is better in presence of the college people, your own college people. So then your own college people, we are giving the permissive action to you. Am I clear what is permissive action?
Yes, sir.
So catecholamines are working, but in presence of glucocorticoid, they are working better. That is why it is called the permissive action of glucocorticoid. Now, in case, in presence of corticoid, glucocorticoid, the epinephrine and norepinephrine, the vascular reactivity is altered. Vascular smooth muscle become unresponsive to epinephrine or norepinephrine. E or NE means epinephrine and norepinephrine. If the glucocorticoid is not there, generally what happens? If the glucocorticoid titer is normal and at the same time epinephrine or norepinephrine is more, then there will be constriction of the smooth muscles and there will be increment of blood pressure, right? But if the epinephrine or epinephrine is there in proper titer, but glucocorticoid is not there, then there will be no and